Welcome everyone to a interpretation of a story done by yours truly, Tyler of Farm Fresh Fabrication.
Farm Fresh Fabrication intro.
The first time that I laid eyes on her, I was about 14, and me and my dad were driving into town that was about 15 minutes away from where we live, and we see her in all her glory sitting out in this field. There's a bunch of cars there. Come to find out, it was a small kind of hometown junkyard. And I was coming up on 16 and I wanted to have something cool to drive, and she definitely caught my eye. So, begged Dad, we pull in, go to knock on the door, and a gentleman named Bob comes to the door. And Dad didn't even finish saying, would you sell this car, before Bob cut him off and not for sale. So that one went away, and we had to move on and try to find something else. Fast forward about 15 years, and my mom, she managed a gas station, and people use gas station attendants for soundboards. And this lady came in and was telling my mom that her husband had just passed, and the city was making her clean up this junkyard that they had been running, because she was no longer going to be running the junkyard. So someone had come and offered her $400 a car, and she was asking my mom if my mom thought that that was good money. So my mom tells the lady, she says, hey, my son's actually been selling a lot of cars and stuff for people recently, and have him and my husband come out and they can take a look and see if they can get you some more money. Me and Dad head out there. She has probably about 6 or 8 cars that we sell for, and clean up a bunch of scrap metal, stuff like that, get the yard all looking nice. This car was not anywhere to be seen though. I did recognize the place, but the car wasn't there. So we get all done helping her, and as a thank you, she says, come out, take a look at this car in this barn. We open the barn doors, and there she was. As a thank you for all of my dad and I's hard work, she gave me the car. The only stipulation was that it had sat for so long that it was in the dirt, because it was loaded to the hilt with all of her stuff, which we had to take out. We cleared out blankets, pillows, books, all sorts of stuff out of the front of the car. So we get to the trunk, pop the trunk open, chock full. There's 2 full oxyacetylene setups. There's 4 or 5 different full toolboxes, hammers, jacks, everything that you can think of is in the back. So we empty all of it out, and the suspension doesn't move at all. Thought that was weird. We go to the back, and there's these 55-gallon drums cut in half, welded to the side of the car, with his own homemade dualies underneath. And by homemade, I mean he took 2 of the same wheels, welded them together, then cut out the center section out of the front one, and then balanced them himself. We take a look at the suspension, and there's not 1, not 2, but 3 types underneath it. You have the factory leaf springs, then they added coil springs right on top of the axle, and they also did air shocks. So there was none of this going on. So then we look a little farther forward and see that there's not 1, but there's 2 transmissions. The factory push button transmissions coupled to a 4-speed. So when we talked to the widow about it, they would use this car to push their cars around the yard. They also took it logging and all sorts of other things that this car was not meant to do. So they put the push button transmission in 1st gear, and then they would put the 4-speed in 1st gear, and maxed out was like 5 miles an hour, but you had all the torque that you could ever need. A car with this much character, that had push bars front and rear, ball hitch front and rear,
heavy duty suspension, dualies, wheel wells that were made out of 50-gallon drums. I can't restore something like that. The car's got too much character. So what's a guy gonna do? I just took Bob's ideas and I amplified them and created this. If you'd like to see more about this, then like, subscribe, and look forward to seeing you at another episode of Farm Fresh Fabrication.